This video is all about gelato. After spending a few weeks in Italy with my wife and kids, you could say that we're all a little bit better educated on gelato. I'm going to tell you a few things you need to know about this delicious dessert and even give you some tips on how to find the best gelato in Italy. So what's the difference between gelato and ice cream? Truth is, they're pretty close. There are some differences, however. First of all, gelato is served at a slightly warmer temperature, so it's a little bit softer, and if you're not careful, it will melt on you very quickly. Believe it or not, you may not gain as much weight eating gelato compared to ice cream. It has considerably less cream in it. It's more milk-based, and because of that, a lot less fat. In fact, less than half the fat that a comparable size ice cream would have. Because there's less fat content, the flavors will kind of jump out at you a little bit more. But let's be honest, the real reason you're not gaining weight eating a little bit of gelato is because if you're a tourist in Italy, you're walking a lot, sometimes well over 10,000 steps a day. And so indulge a little bit. Gelato is, along with pasta and pizza and Lamborghinis and Ferraris, one of the true great and wonderful things about Italy. There's a gelateria on almost every corner in this country. The history of gelato is rather interesting and goes back to the 1500s. Wealthy families, either in Florence or Bologna, depending on who you ask or what research you read, came up with this cold, decadent dessert, and it was originally enjoyed only by the wealthy people. Popular flavors included sweet wine and honey. Eventually, gelato made its way to the masses, and today, usually for €2 or €3, you can pick you up a nice gelato cone. By the way, that cone, that's not Italian. It's actually an American invention from the early 1900s that made its way back over here to Italy. So is there good gelato and bad gelato? And how do you find the best gelato if you are visiting Italy? Some say you want to avoid the touristy gelato shops. Typically, these places are located next to a big tourist attraction or on a busy thoroughfare. A lot of times they have a lot of selection, 30, 40 different flavors. A lot of times they'll have big heaping mounds of gelato, much like you see here, out for display rather than in a metal canister.
There, Sarah, show me what you got.
It does stand to reason that a place that has a huge selection probably does not make their gelato in-house. I certainly think you're better off finding gelato that is served fresh and has fresh ingredients. Good gelato will typically have a really strong flavor. You'll know right away that flavor will hit you. Also, the texture will be smooth, whereas cheap gelato is made from a mix and will sometimes have a slightly grainy texture to it. Let's talk about our favorite gelato flavors. First of all, everywhere you go is going to have a selection. Some smaller places might only have 6 to 8, maybe 10 different flavors to choose from, whereas a larger shop could have 30 or 40 or more. Now, chocolate and stracciatella are always going to be available. They are tried and true flavors, and they're always good. Even the cheap gelato shops will have good chocolate and stracciatella. However, I recommend venturing out and trying something different. Lemon is a terrific flavor of gelato. Also, pistachio, very popular flavor. The best pistachio will not be green. It'll be more of a rich gray brown color. And another flavor, coconut. Coconut gelato often will have a little bit of coconut texture in it. And this is just a marvelous flavor of gelato. So venture out, try some different flavors, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. Another thing to look out for is every now and then you have a fancy gelato shop that will offer some chocolate toppings. And typically they put this on the top in a small miniature cone. Now this is really amazing. Usually you have to upgrade. It's €1 or €2 more to have this experience. It is wonderful to have some European chocolate on the top of your gelato. Just be careful because it is a mess waiting to happen, especially with kids. There were so many good gelato places all throughout Italy. There were a couple that stood out to us. One was located in Rome, very near the Vatican. It was called Lemongrass. The gelato here was wonderful. Also, another place in a little town up in the northern part of Italy in the Dolomites. The town was called San Giovanni, and it was just a random restaurant, but the gelato was terrific. In reality, most places had terrific gelato. Even the touristy places with the big heaping mounds, that was still pretty good stuff. What was noticeable though is once we left Italy, the quality and consistency of the gelato wasn't nearly as good. Here we are in Austria posing for a picture with our gelato, and just a few moments later after this picture was taken, we all kind of looked at each other and said, wow, we're not in Italy anymore. The gelato's just not quite as good here, is it? So what can I say? When in Rome, or anywhere in Italy for that matter, pull out a few euros, order yourself a pistachio coconut, and enjoy the good life.